I'm gonna go ahead. Okay. Recording should be started. We should be good to go. And this is so here is in Pathways. I'll go back to the Pathways main page here. From the Pathways main page, if you open up your path, and I'm going to first go to this overview here on the right, or on the left. If you go to this overview, actually, hold on. I need to take care of something real quick. Give me just a second. I apologize for this. I could never. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So if you get to this overview, you can actually see everything that's within your path. And anytime you complete anything, any of these check marks will become highlighted green. So you'll be able to see them as green check marks. With the enhancements, they added to all of the levels this very first thing that's got the level, and then so you can see here level one, mastering fundamentals, level two, learning your style, all the way down through level five. That's where you're going to find all of this enhancement material is in this section right here. And for the later levels, you have to go into this because the specifications for the different speech projects and everything are within those. So now I'm going to go into each of these levels and kind of show everything off. So, so if you look at the level one, it kind of will do each one has a little synopsis here of the level. They'll have extra resources that you need that is tied to this level. For example, one of the first things you're going to do is become a timer. So they have the information about the timer, script and log, A counter, again, the same sort of thing, the meeting roles, and then how to evaluate. So they have those resources for the roles that you're going to have to complete in this level. Obviously, you might do more that's not required of the level, but they're just going to give you those. So that way, if it's a new member, they're not overwhelming them. Then down here, they're going to have the required projects. So obviously, everybody's level one's the same. So you're going to have your icebreaker, your writing a speech with purpose, introduction to vocal variety and body language, evaluation and feedback. You can see all of them, you're going to be a speaker, and then you do have to be a speech evaluator for this evaluation and feedback. And that is a key one. A lot of people miss that one. Make sure because it's not just being a speech evaluator, but you have to get your evaluation evaluated by a member. It does not have to be an oral evaluation of your evaluation. You can do it, but obviously, if you're pressed for time, they can do it, and then you can meet with the person after the meeting and just go over the goods and what to work on from your evaluation. Then down here, they're going to go with the required meeting rules. What are you going to have to do to complete this level? Level one, they have changed something very, very significant. Before delivering your icebreaker speech, you are to be a table topics speaker, not master speaker. So just giving a 1 to 2 minute table topic speech from the table topics master. But that is to happen after becoming a Toastmaster, but before you give your icebreaker speech. So
So
knows
we've
that.
had people give icebreaker speeches even before they join the club. So I don't think for our club anyway, we're not gonna force people to table topics before they icebreaker.
So so here's the little caveat with that is if they are not a Toastmaster, technically they can't get any credit.
I mean,
So
technically, who's gonna stop me for writing it down in a spreadsheet? So
not arguing, just
We
just
do have our four core values now. Come on now. Just
I'm
saying.
going to say it's going to be a little beneficial to be a little bit more stickler, and I'll explain why as we get to past this level one, why it's going to be you're going to have to be if especially if you're a VP, you're going to have to be a little bit of a stickler. But again, table topic speakers shouldn't be that big of a deal. You should be able to easily do that the first meeting after they join. And it's not necessarily, oh, and I will tell you, so kind of the way I play it is I don't necessarily say, oh, Toastmasters has processed all of your paperwork. I go by, you've submitted your application and we have your dues payment. I'm not going to wait for Toastmasters to process it to say it. As far as I'm concerned, at that point, you're a Toastmaster. You've filled out your application. You've gone through all the steps. Everything else is just, all the paperwork stuff. Because anybody who's been around long enough knows that sometimes international can get congested and you can think, oh, it'll only take a week. 3 weeks later, you're still waiting for their paperwork to be processed. That shouldn't be a holdup, but they should have made the process of actually becoming a member, even if it's not official on internationals. That I think you can argue without any issue. With that being said, next speaker, obviously, at all the levels, you're going to see speaker. You're going to be a speech evaluator. Again, that's part of that evaluation and feedback project is just a speech evaluator. So all you have to do is evaluate one speech. That's it. You don't have to, if you have two speakers, they don't have to evaluate both. They don't have to be the general evaluator, just a speech evaluation. And then one of the two, timer and ah counter. Now, for later on, I will bring this up. Some clubs, ours is one of them, will group ah counter and grammarian into one role. Our club does do this. For later levels, you will actually, if you do that, you can get a 2 for 1 because Toastmasters recognizes those as two separate roles. But they do recognize that some clubs combine them and they're okay with that because they're two roles that are kind of similar. Obviously, you're looking for different things in the role, but you're looking at the same time. So it's why it's easier to do them. Some clubs split them up, some keep them together. Just note that they're just looking for that ah counter. And then they're going to talk about how they work together. And, obviously all these are level specific. Everybody's got these in their path, so I'm not going to dwell on those specifically. But then if you go to the second page, this is the key thing that you're going to, especially new members, you're going to want, actually even existing members, you're going to want to guide them to. And that is this checklist and completion. It will tell them everything they need to do before they complete this level. So to participate as a table topic speaker, on level one, they go into a little bit more detail. They go through every single project. They even make sure they put the serve as an evaluator while completing the evaluation and feedback project separate, even though they have this here, just so people do not miss it. And then complete the one additional role. Obviously, if there's specific things people want to complete in their specific level, or some of these projects, maybe especially get to later levels, have a little bit more stuff you're going to do and you want to keep track, you can add tasks on there to kind of keep a mental checklist for yourself. You can do that. That is one thing they add, but note that the ones that they have here are the required. And then they do have here at the bottom that once you complete it, they just have a few reflection questions they want you to answer to just kind of reflect what you've done in the level. Obviously, if it's their first path, these are very beneficial. They're going to be very much instilling why did you do this information to try to make sure that people know they're getting something out of it. If you're on like your seventh or eighth path, it's going to seem a little tedium, but I would still at least put a sentence or two down just so that way you're consciously thinking about it. Because even if you're not getting a lot out of it, it allows you to be aware of it and you can better mentor those newer members because they're going to see those. And if they ask you about them and you don't have any idea, you're going to lose that ability to mentor them as well as you could. So that's,
Andrew, could I
yes,
ask you a question?
absolutely.
This is sometimes overwhelming, even for an advanced Toastmaster, all this clicking you have to do and all of this
Mhm.
back and forth. Have you completed this? And type in something when you really don't want to type in anything about your thoughts about this or that. If I have a brand new Toastmaster, which I do have right now, I'm mentoring him, and I told him this is what you have to do for your level one. These check marks right here is a summary of everything that has to be done. I could refer him to this and he knows exactly what has to be done step by step for this level one. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
that's really an important part for me because I don't think he's going to, he's a medical student, and I don't think he's going to have time to be checking this and checking around and click here and click there, which, is a sore point with me on pathways. I'm sorry, it is a big sore point. But if I can present him with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points right here, he'll know exactly what has to be done to get his first level one done complete. Is that correct?
Yes,
Great.
correct.
Thank you.
And what he could also do is just print off, just highlight and print this section off. So
Yes.
whenever it comes to the roles, whenever he does them, he can just put the date beside it. So that way he knows he can put dates beside all of these things. So that way he knows he did them.
That'd be great. And
So
we could
that's
include
another
this.
thing.
We have a
Go ahead.
mentor checklist, and we could include this in the mentor checklist for the first path. That would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm working on it for my club, but obviously I will make it available for the district a a comprehensive checklist. So we'll have all five because I'm doing it for myself, and then I'm going to break it into an individual checklist that's going to have all the different things you have to do and have places where you can put dates beside it so that way you can mentally check them off. It's not just, oh, I marked it wrong. You have a date to go with it because I think you're going to notice something here is that the dates are a little bit more important than it used to be. I used to not track dates. I just used to say whenever you did it, I don't have my checklist. I have it elsewhere. That I just put a check. You've done this. You've done this. Now I'm redoing my whole. I have. I'm our club VPE, and I've been it for many years. I would track whenever people would finish projects, so I knew, oh, they've completed a level. I can follow up with them and say, hey, once you get it in, I'll check it off. I'll be on the lookout for it. Things like that. But now dates are a little bit more important.
Why are
I
they
was
more
just putting an
important?
X.
What's the point of their, why are they, what's the importance of dates now? Just to keep organized, or is there some particular thing you have to keep track of for some particular reason?
So I'll address that when we get to level two
Okay, great.
because yep, level one, it's not as big a deal, but for later levels, it is. And so it's just to me, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it for everything. And it just helps me keep more organized too. So going on to level two, and I'm going to go back a page. Again, they've got this little blurb about what level two is all about. The resources, again, are going to be ones specific to level two. Obviously, you can see some of them are, just a sec, I see it. Some of them are repeats from level one, the timer script and log and the account script and log. Those are repeats because they're still core to level two, but you need them in level one. So Alexa put a very interesting question in the chat that whether it's retroactive, if somebody's in the middle of the level that do the new rules apply? Patty, I'm gonna probably I'm glad you're here because I'm gonna ask for confirmation. The way I have read the email that these new rules apply to any levels that weren't completed prior to the rollout.
That's my
Now,
understanding too. Yes.
anything from the meeting roles and things like that that you completed prior to the rollout, you can still use. Now, obviously, you might have to go back, check with might have to have your secretary pull out their meeting notes to get the information from that. But it is retroactive. That's why I had a couple people who had their levels completed. I
Mhm.
told them, get them in, let me get it approved so there's no issues with that. But the way that they have sent out the information, it is now if you've completed a level, you don't have to go back and do anything. So if the level's been completed and marked off, you don't have to do anything. But if they were in the middle of the level, the new rules apply. Yes, Patty.
In Alexa's question, they've already started. They were in the middle, but now the level one says you were supposed to do a icebreaker before you did your first speech. Well, they're in the middle of it, so you don't have to worry about that. So I just want to make sure that you understood that they don't just go ahead as long as they've done a topics, give them credit for it, mark it off.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long obviously you can't retroact. You're not going to make them redo the icebreaker.
Yeah.
They're not going to make you do that.
Mhm.
But obviously, if before the rule they did the icebreaker then table topic speech, it's not going to be a big deal. Yes, Patty.
And also I mean, you noted that you kept track on your spreadsheet, but if people are in the free toast, you can actually go back and pull a list of their meeting roles and their speaking roles, so you can see some of that too. Not everything, but I mean, you won't be able to see if they participated in table topics, but all the other roles you can see if you use free toast.
And you update it after meetings if you reconcile
Correct.
it. Yes. because
Can I also
we've
ask,
used it, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, are there other timing wise kinds of requirements other than in level one, the table topics? See what I'm saying? Like, are there other levels where something must be completed before they can move on to the next? Or is that the only
So
one?
within the level, that's the only one.
Okay.
Mhm.
So dates are
But
important in terms of the completion of the level, but not in terms of,
within the level,
progress of, yes. Okay,
right.
great.
Yes,
And I'm
Patty.
going to jump in here because I'm working with several corporate clubs, and a lot of them are level one. But I ask them to go through and I show them the types of projects available in levels three, four, and five. And if they're doing something that corresponds at work, they can go ahead and do that particular project, kind of, not in sequential order, uh, and that would be okay. So I just want to make sure that, Alexa, I know you're in a corporate club, that you'll make sure that you uh, have folks that they can do that. And that should be okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay. Sorry to jump in, Andrew.
No, 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 no. You're fine. So now going through, obviously the required projects are still the same. Everybody has introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. That's in everybody's level two. And then two distinct projects that are required. There is a little bit of a misnomer that everybody's level two is the same. That has never been the case, but you do have a lot of overlap. I think through all the, even whenever there were 11 paths, I think there were still only five projects over all level twos, and one of those was that introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. So there's a lot of overlap, but note that not all of them are the same. I think every single one has the under either the understanding your leadership style or understanding your uh, uh, speaking style, or I can't remember the exact communication style. Thank you, Patty. It's got one of those projects in it. Some have both, but they all have at least one of them. And then we're going to get to required meeting roles. For Marion, now you've got to be table topics master. You're going to be an evaluator again because they want to really emphasize giving speech evaluations as well as being a speaker. You're going to see those, I believe, in every single level because these are the cores of Toastmasters is speaking and evaluation. Obviously, it's not taken away from all the rest, but this is the core that everything else builds off of. And then any one of the following additional roles: Toastmaster of the day, timer, or ah counter. Your choice. You can be any one of the three. You don't have to be all three. You just need to have one to get credit. It's your choice which one of those. The required ones you have to do. It's just like in the later levels where you have electives. You have electives for roles now too. And then again, they have the information of how they work together and then the path forward. And then if you go to this second page, you'll have your checklist. Now, the checklist here is a little bit more condensed than the level one, as they just grouped all of the required speeches into one checkbox. But all the roles are here separately. Now, we brought up about dates. Here's why the dates are important is because the way that Toastmasters has rolled this out and the wording that they have. Now, I have not seen a further clarification of this, but the way the wording was whenever they sent the information to the officers is that the roles, so the different roles that you have to do in a meeting, you have to complete your previous level before you can get credit for them. So you have to complete one level before you start getting the roles. Now the speeches, there's I'm not saying anything that requires that you have to do them in order, but the roles, the way it's worded, they pretty much are saying you have to wait till you're in that level before you give the rules. Now, I am going to postulate for just a second here. I think part of the reason why they are doing this is to avoid Toastmasters from sandbagging as much at the end of the year. And then you start the year, and all of a sudden, your club has 5 levels done in the first week of July. Not gonna lie, I've sandbagged before because I don't need them and it doesn't help our club, so there's no reason for me to do it now. Wait and do it whenever I know our club will get credit for it. But I think part of it is they want the stuff completed in that Toastmasters year to be given credit in that year because it goes beyond it just by the member and the club. It goes to, the district level, and then they're looking at the international level of how many things are being completed every year. And so it can throw off the numbers some with that. And I think that's part of the reason they're doing it. I think part of it is to add a little bit of structure to it. But the way I have read it, the meeting roles have to be done after you complete a level. The speeches do not. Those you can work ahead without any issue. But the meeting roles, you have to complete a previous level before you can work on the new level. So you can have been a grammarian 3 times in level one. It's not required for your level one. Once you get in level two, you have to do it again. Now, I think part of the reason for this also is for newer members not to overwhelm them as much. That way, they're not being, you know, a table topics master in their third meeting. It's to try to let it breathe, let them absorb the roles a little bit more. Now, it's not saying that they can't do it. It's just saying that you have to do it in this level. And let me check chat here. And Alexa, I understand that. That's part of it, but here's the other part of it though, is prior to this rollout, there was, I think, one project where you had to be a table topics master. That was the only time any meeting roles were required at all. And so now at least meeting roles are at least somewhat required because they didn't even used to be required at all.
Plus, I think, plus I think having people go ahead and sign up for these roles helps get your meeting roles filled before, you know, 5 minutes into the meeting. So trying to get them to do that will be helpful. And I like what Josh mentioned at the panel discussion a couple weeks ago. Um, just do the complete, the full circle of all the roles at each level, and you've got it. And that's kind of that's a little easier at times, maybe to monitor.
Again, I'll show this at the end until level 5. Level 5 is the exception to that. So and then again, they've got just a couple reflection questions here, and that's level 2. So level 1 and 2, the only things they added were meeting role requirements. And here's the other side of it, and Kay was uh, bringing this up, is that, one way to look at it, oh, I don't need that role, so I'm not going to be as interested in signing up. Oh, I need this role. I better sign up for it so I can get the credit I need. So there's another side to that coin. Level 3 is where things get interesting. I'm going to back up here. Again, the blurb about level 3, the resources, obviously, they're kind of dwindling because a lot of them you've already gotten those first two levels. Then the required projects and presentation. One required project, everybody has that. Two chosen electives, no changes there. A speech from the successful club series. They are reintegrating all of the old series back as requirements. Now, where it gets tricky is the successful club series is in level 3, 4, and 5, but it's only specific ones for each level. But the nice thing is if you direct members to this landing page, right underneath it, there are the ones that you have to pick from. And if you click on this learn more, just a second. Let me let me log in here real quick. The manual, it will direct you straight towards the manual. And it includes the outline and the PowerPoint presentation. So this actually will bring up a zip file that has the booklet, it's got the PowerPoint presentation, it's got everything you need to do it. It is very much structured. It is your slides are already presented for you. It's it's a very structured speech for those who have either had to give them or have listened to one in the past. They can be a little dry. Obviously, you can spice them up, but these are very important ones. I can tell you there are definitely some ones I've looked at that I think would be beneficial for our club to give. So give one that you can either give one you're a little bit more passionate about or one that you think your club needs. Use these to is the successful club series. Use these to make your club more successful. Don't look at it as just a check box. People are saying, well, what can I do to, you know, make our club better? What can we do to grow our club? What can we do to make our meetings better? Right here you are. Find the one that your club needs. Use it and get credit for it. And here's a little other piece of information too. If there's two of them you want to do, you can use one for your successful club series and then take another one and you can easily plug it into one of these electives and get credit for it there. So if there's more than one you want to do, plug it in elsewhere and still get credit for it. You don't have to wait till the next time you come around to it in your next path. Again, you get to the required meeting roles. Now, Toastmaster is required. It's not in the additional roles. You have evaluator, speaker, as always, and then you have this elective spot, including being an introductory mentor. So and with that one there, it's as you can see, it's informal, so it's not as structured. There's not as much check boxes to it. But it's just you have a new member, mentor them, get them started in pathways, get them going and giving speeches. Then again, how all of it works and your path forward. And again, we have our checklist. Again, they The speeches, they kind of group a little bit. They have the required and then the two electives. You have your successful club series, your Toastmaster, serve as an evaluator, and then complete one of these additional roles. And just one thing to keep in mind for this evaluator that you see in all the different levels, the only level that your evaluation has to be evaluated is part of that level one project. This doesn't mean you can't have your evaluations evaluated. Not a bad idea, especially if you're going to be, if you're thinking about competing in the evaluation contest, you want to give better evaluations, you want to become a stronger evaluator so you can get to that contest level. But note that you just have to get it and just state that you've done it. It's, and again, still evaluator, not general evaluator. And then you have your reflection questions. Then if we go to level four, and again, I need to go back. I apologize there. Level four, again, what level four is about, resources. Again, some are repeats. The only new one is this general evaluator. Now, when we get to required projects and presentation, we still have the one required and one elective. That hasn't changed from the past. That's still the same thing. You have one from the Successful Club series. Again, it's a from a selective list that we'll see down below, and then the Better Speaker series. What you'll notice with the Successful Club series is they took the 11 presentations in that series and they grouped them based off their level. So you'll see that the level four ones are a little bit more in depth than the level three ones, and the level fives are more in depth than the level threes and level fours. They did split them up, but they did it purposely to coordinate better with the levels. And then we get our second series, the Better Speaker series makes its return, and you just have to any one from that series. And if you come down, you have again right here the Successful Club series. You hit the learn more, it'll take you right to the download page for them. Again, you can see it's a little bit more about finding new members, closing sale, being a distinguished club, and the educational program. Again, these are a little bit more in depth than the level threes. You can see why these are a little bit more of a level four. Better speaker, better speaker series. You have two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 to choose from. Any one that piques your interest or that you think would better benefit your club. I can tell you, if you have a lot of newer members, creating an introduction is a surprisingly effective one because most new members don't create they don't even create an introduction. They always forget about it. Going through this goes through the process of what you want your introduction to look like, and more importantly, why it's important. That way, the general evaluator isn't chastising speakers every week of, well, you didn't have an introduction. So that really puts an undue burden on your Toastmaster. They don't have to do that. So pay attention. And again, if you're looking a little ahead, these speeches you can easily plug into a level three project. Level four is a little bit tougher, but level threes are very easy to plug these into. Again, if you see two that you would like to do or two that you think your club could really benefit from, you can do one in level three and then do one for your required and get credit for both. You know, I am a big believer of the Toastmasters mantra of never let a speech go to waste. If you're going to give a speech, get credit for it. So know that those are available. And then down here, you have the required meeting roles. You have your Toastmaster of the day, general evaluator, now in level 4. It is now required. Again, you still have that speech evaluator and speaker. Those are going to be in every single one. And then the additional role, table topics speaker, not master. So make sure people are paying attention on the wording of the difference between speaker and master. Because then right next door you have the table topics master or a specialized role. A couple of people have asked, what does that mean? It can take a variety of roles. Great example. Some clubs have a joke master who delivers a joke of the day. That is a specialized role. That is not a required role that Toastmasters International requires for the meeting. If you are joke master for the day, that fills this specialized role category. If another example they give is if you have a speaker who has a handout and you assist them with the handout or assist them some way with their visual aid during their speech, that counts. Just anything that you do in the meeting that is not specified as one of the required roles of Toastmasters. Anything can fit into that. So it's a very broad thing. Now, it will be within a meeting, so the mentorship doesn't quite count for this. And again, you only have to do one of these three. Or you can repeat any one of these three. So they make it pretty broad. They make this last check pretty easy to get. Then again, how it all works together, and then you get your checklist. Again, they're going to have the required speech and your elective or two of your check marks. Then you have your successful club series, your better speaker series, and then all of the meeting roles as separate check marks. Again, once you get to this level 4, this adding new task could be beneficial. People who have done level 4 projects, you know that those can start getting a little more project and less speech. You can use this to kind of keep a thought process going. And then, of course, you have your reflection questions. And level 5 is about the expertise. So again, a little blurb. They've thrown all the resources here, so you have them all in one spot. Again, you have the one required project, the elective project. You have one from the Successful Club series, and then the Leadership Excellence series. You have to do one project. If you can see the Successful Club series, it's one of 3. And again, these are a lot more higher level uh, speeches. Moments of truth. Anybody who's listened to me for years can know that I will talk about, I don't do it enough. I need to be doing this like every year in our club. I think the last time we did it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm being a bad Toastmaster. You have the moments of truth. You can always do this moments of truth. It is a great way to kind of just see where your club's at and what you need to focus on. That's all it tells you. Don't look into it as, oh, we're a really bad club or, oh, we are a rock star club. The moments of truth is all about this is where your club's strengths are and this is where your club's weaknesses are based off of the members of your club. Your club will tell you this is where we think we can do better. This is where we think we're doing well. And it gives you a path of where to focus. And then motivation and mentoring, obviously very important roles there. And then the Leadership Excellence Series, again, you have all sorts of different projects in here. Again, you can plug these into different ones. I could tell you, if you want to do the mentoring and moments of truth, you can plug moments of truth into an HPL project fairly easily. I can tell you that with 100% accuracy. This you can plug into level 4 and level 5 projects fairly easily. The Leadership Excellence Series, I just don't remember enough about them. This is one I need to go back and look at all of them again, but just look at them and then look at what's required for different projects. If you want to give more than one, you can give more than one, get credit for two, though. And again, doesn't hurt to look ahead. Then again, your required meeting roles, you will notice when you come down here, General Evaluator, twice. Toastmaster of the Day, twice. Evaluator, twice. You will have to do these roles twice in level 5. This is the only reason why I say that the doing the full circle for each level, this is the only place where you have to keep an eye on that because these roles you have to do 2 times within level 5. Now, obviously, you have your speaker, and then one additional role of GE, Toastmaster, Evaluator, or any of these roles. Basically, anything that any club role, anything that you see in that club role spot throughout the entire path. Basically, any of them count for this additional role. And again, how it all works together. And then you have your checklist. And again, they do make sure that they emphasize the twice. If someone is doing multiple paths at once, can roles double count? No, you can only, you're doing one role, so you can only count it once. You can't you can't say, well, I need it here and here, so I'm just going to count for both. You have to do it twice. So you can't quite double dip on that. And trust me, as somebody who has double paths going all the time, I think I've had at least 2 paths going since like 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. Trust me, I would love to do that, but I think we need to understand that the reason why those are in there is to encourage people to take those roles and to get fulfillment out of them. To answer your question, can't double dip. But then that's the checklist for your level 5. The key thing is having to do the GE, Toastmaster, and Evaluator twice, as well as the additional role. All the others are their own check marks. Again, you can add the new tasks. Obviously, anybody who's done a level 5 know that level 5s can sometimes be, some of those projects can get very in depth. So if you need a little task checklist to help you out, you can add those and then the reflection questions. And that's the synopsis of the changes. This is not all the pathways, this is just the additions they've added. If I'm working on multiple levels, so I complete all the level 4 speeches before I do the ones for 5. So Josh asked in the chat, if I am working on multiple levels, Do I have to complete all the level 4 expansion speeches before I do the ones for 5? How I have read the wording for that is when it comes to any of the speech projects, whether you're talking about the traditional pathways ones or the series speeches that they have brought in, you can do those in any order. And you can get credit for those out of order. That is perfectly acceptable. The only thing is the meeting roles you can't get credit for until you have completed everything in the previous level. I hope that answers that question. So yes, you can it's just like before with anything that's speech related, you can work ahead. It's just the meeting roles you can't work ahead. Any of those meeting role things, but the series projects, yes, you can work ahead on those. Especially like let's say you're in level 3, but you look at one of the level 5 series projects, you're like, our club could really benefit from somebody giving that project right now. You can go give that speech and get the credit for it now.
I have another question along the same line, and just want your opinion on this. So, like, because I'm in a corporate club and I do other things, trying to get credit for all my speeches, I completed level 3 before I completed level 2. So if someone were in that situation with this new stuff, how would we do that? Like we would be like, "Oh no, sorry, you have to finish level 2 before you can do all the rolls for level 3?" Or okay.
So you can finish all of the speech requirements for level 3 ahead of time. But the roles you have to wait until you get to level 3 before you can fulfill them. That is how they have it worded currently. So you can have all the speeches done, but to do the roles, you have to wait till you're in level 3. Now, obviously, there's nothing that says that you only can get credit for one role in one meeting. Obviously, I wouldn't take 4 or 5 roles, but if all you have left are the meeting roles, you can knock those out in pretty quick succession, and you can work with your VPE or whoever's working on the scheduling for your club as well as your club members to get those knocked out once you get to it in quick succession. And also, they have changed one thing is you cannot complete a previous level. You can't, they will not even let you attempt to submit it until your previous level is approved. Not just submitted, approved. They won't even open it up. They have changed that requirement in there, and I think that has to do with all the stuff with the meeting rules. Yes, Patty.
Question. If you attend another club and and I'm trying to encourage people to go to other clubs, or maybe you're an area or division director and you take on a role there, or you can do one of the other series speeches, that would still count, and you would just have to report it back to your home club. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Nothing says that this has to be done in your club. All it says is it has to be done in a club meeting. In fact, the, and I would have to look at the wording on this. For example, timer. If you were timer at a contest, that is a Toastmasters function. I'd have to look to see whether that would count because you're still doing the same timing role. The only difference is how your reporting is a little different. So I'd have to check that one. That's the only one I can think of that you might get outside of a traditional meeting sense. But note that that might be an option in play. I can't say that one 100%. If I were to guess, I would think Toastmasters wouldn't have anything against that. Again, when you're doing a contest, get credit for stuff. I used to get credit whenever I was the chief judge. Whenever I was doing my briefings, I counted as a speech and got credit for it being a speech, being a chief judge. Just that part of it. Briefings are a speech. It's a very, formal yet intimate speech, but it's still just a speech. And again, you can always get credit for speeches outside of any Toastmasters function. The only thing is you have to make sure that is pre-approved by your VPE, and you have to have a Toastmaster present to fill out your evaluation form. It must be a Toastmaster. It's not just you have to have your evaluation form filled out. It has to be a Toastmaster in good standing that fills out that evaluation. But I, at my previous job, I think I got 2 or 3 projects. I got completion doing my job and giving speeches as part of my job. I just had somebody in the audience who just happened to also be a Toastmaster, did the evaluation. I did it for them a couple times, got credit for it. So note that that is an option. The only thing is making sure that it's pre-approved. Looking at the clock, it is 10:58. I do not want to take your entire Saturday away from you. If you have any further questions, I am more than happy to answer them. But at this time, I think I've gone over everything I have. I want to thank everybody for being here. I hope that it was beneficial and it was insightful. And I hope you have a nice weekend.
Very well done. Thank you, Walter.
You're very
Andrew, I'm
welcome.
sorry, Andrew. My fault.
Hey,
Not a problem.
there was on the Facebook posting today, a gentleman who gave like 7 points of how to do if you're like a base camp manager and wanting to find out, how to do some of the other of those things. You might want to check that out too, just to
Okay.
throw that out real quick.
Okay. I will try to hit that sometime this weekend. And I will tell you I am working on my own management spreadsheet because my brain works odd and I like how I like things, and so I'm coming up with a system that works for me, and I
Okay.
just a little too lazy to sit down and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, I am working on that. Obviously, once I get everything done, anybody who would like access to look at this, at it, I'm going to make it available for the district, but I'll probably go through and tidy it up.
Good. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you
Great
very
job. Thank
much.
you, Andrew, for presenting this. Appreciate it.
No problem. And Patty, I did hit record to the cloud.
Oh, okay.
So that way, if you want to post it to the YouTube page, it is available.
Okay, no, that'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.